If you're on a phone or an app, I believe it's on the bottom right. There's a more button and you can click the chat there. So get on the chat. Tell us where you're calling in from today. Also, tell us what kind of job or industry you're looking for. And then one more thing to include is your LinkedIn URL, and that helps us connect with each other. And so to get your LinkedIn URL, open up a browser, go out and log into LinkedIn, and then click into your profile. You can get there by like clicking on your picture, but click into your profile, and that the URL at the very top of the browser, that is your LinkedIn URL. And if you drop it into the chat box, so it's a clickable link, that makes it a lot easier for people to connect with you because we can't copy and paste the chat. So find your URL and copy and paste it right into the chat and then connect with each other. It's another way that we can network while we're trying to manage through this time of staying somewhat quarantined. So welcome again. We are so glad you guys are here. And Sheila, did you want to go into some of the tech stuff?
Oh, sure. So I put the Zoom session meeting ID right here in case you are watching us on Facebook. You might want to come on over to Zoom so you can have chat with us. And if you are having trouble, there is the Career Connectors phone number. You can text for help, 480-442-5806. And Jessica already talked about the chat, but I wanted to mention a few weeks ago, you were able to copy and paste from our chat, but we had to lock down the security. So you won't be able to do that. And that makes it really important that you're grabbing actual URLs, not just typing in a web address, but you grab it from the browser window and then it shows up blue in the chat, and then people are able to click and follow that URL right during the session. So that'd be good. And then if you come in to Zoom with either not your name or maybe just your first name, you might want to consider going ahead and updating your screen name to be your full name so that people can connect with you easily. So that's just a thought for you. When you're chatting, you can chat to the whole group or you can chat privately to one person at a time. So just know that when it says to, and then you can say everyone or select a name. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Sheila. Okay, so also our speakers today, Christy and Jason, are also in the chat. Hi, Christy. Hi, Jason. They are also in the chat. And so feel free to engage in the chat with them as well. Not so much when they're speaking, they won't be able to respond, but during the event and when they're not speaking, they'll be able to engage. But if you have questions for either speaker, drop that into the chat because we have moderators looking for your questions to ensure that we ask those questions. You know, make sure when they have a break, we ask those questions. And actually, Christy's pretty good about going back and forth and engaging with the chat. So just blow up the chat. We're watching for the important stuff that comes through. Let's see, just a note, something we always get is, you know, where's the PowerPoint or how do I find out more? So we have someone blogging today. So we'll do an event recap at the end of the day. We'll also have this whole webinar posted out on our website later today. So if you want to go back and rewatch any of this, that's available to you as well. All right. And as a side note, if anything inappropriate comes up today and we can't lock it down or shut it off, we would have to end the call and relaunch it with no networking and all security blocked. So if for any reason anything weird happens like that, we would shut down the call and we will come back with it fully locked down to finish out the presentation. So, but we know that's not going to happen today. Let's see what else. And if you are not on video and you feel comfortable, get on video. We'd love to see your beautiful faces today. And we're really trying hard to engage the best way possible. And great, I see people posting in the chat right now, tons. Oh, you guys are doing such a good job of putting in your LinkedIn URLs. So many great people to connect with here. So go in, click on those URLs. It will take you to a browser and you can connect with each other. So it's just such a great way to connect during this time. So this morning, we have Christy Staub, The Leader's Mindset, Your Values, Measure What Matters, and then Jason from Wealth Wave, and then we will be closing it out with some great resources for you guys. So it is my great honor to introduce one of my great friends, Christy Staub. For over 25 years, she has been developing individuals, teams, and organizations to excel in the areas of leadership, sales, and success. Driven by her commitment to transform leadership around the globe, she guides people to become passionate, purposeful, and positively influential leaders. Her innovative and inspiring Lead Like a Rockstar philosophy helps leaders to discover, hone, and put into action their rockstar leader within. It's what she refers to as put the rock in your role. Please help me welcome Christy Staub.
That is what we refer to put the rock in the roll. I was dancing as we were getting ready today. Great music, nice emceeing in the background, Sheila. Thank you so much. And Kelly Clarkson shares, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And surrounding yourself with people that Career Connectors brings together is a really great way to be surrounding yourself with people who can uplift you, who can bring positivity to you, who can encourage you and give you the strategies and the tactics to get back into the workforce. And when I say that, I also want you to be really purposeful. So let's talk about quickly, by show of hands, how many people on the line, oh, you know what? Jessica, I'm looking around. I don't see very many cameras on. So I'm gonna have to start at the beginning. Everybody, I want the next 30 minutes to be the best 30 minutes of your day. So when you show up at the dinner table today and your son, your daughter, your significant other, your neighbor, your nanny looks at you and says, what was the best part of your day? You say the best part of the day was when I invested 30 solid minutes in myself and my future. So if we don't see your smiling face right now, I'm going to ask you, turn on your camera. And here's a big, oh, I'm gonna hear a lot of sighs. Well, I'm not, because the microphones are off. If the microphones were off, I would hear people go, oh, because I'm gonna ask you for these 30 minutes not to multitask. What does that mean? Turn off your cell phone or your mobile phone, your smartphone, turn off your computer, shut your door, and dedicate the next 30 minutes to one of the most important things in the world right now, and that is you. So DTech, turn on your cameras, let us see your smiles. And by the way, everybody, I spent 23 years of my life in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm in Las Vegas right now, and we have people who will come and get you. They know where you live if your cameras are not on. I'm just saying, that's what happens in Vegas. That's why they say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, okay? If you get my drift. All right, I'm seeing more and more smiles, and I love it. Jessica is right. I love the chat box. I'm going to use this as a way, and so when you see me lift my phone, it helps me see the chat box when I can't see it down in the corner. I am here with you. I am present. I'm asking you to be present with me as well. Down in the chat box, what I'd love to hear from you is I'm going to be asking you questions. That's how I get to hear. When you type in your answers, I'm listening to you. I'm looking for understanding. I'm seeing what's resonating and what's not resonating. So I'm going to throw out some specific questions for the chat box. I'm also going to ask you in our time together, if something I say resonates with you, type it down in the chat box. Let us know what's resonating. We do this for you to give you a leg up. Keep in mind, 20% of the people will take the information that is shared and get 80% of the results. Will you be one of those 20% of people getting 80% of the results? Okay? Use the chat box, let us know. Feel free to ask questions in the chat box. I do have a couple people keeping an eye on the chat box, so feel free to use it. And I've seen some of you already give some reactions. Reactions are down in the Zoom chat bar. Under reactions, you're going to see a little emoticon. you have two options. You can either give a clap, or you can also give a thumbs up. Now that would be the modern way to do it. Sometimes I'm a little old school, so if you like something you hear and you don't want to go down to the bar and hit the reaction, you can give one of these and do it live, or you can even give one of these. I prefer that you stay away from these though, okay? Sound good, everybody? All right, okay. Every morning I start my day out with gratitude. Today, I'm extremely grateful for my friends at Career Connectors. What you don't know is what happens behind the scenes to produce these events for you. It is days, weeks, and months in the making. And it's been relationships that have been formed over 12, 13 plus years. So there's so much that goes into that. Let's give a round of applause for our friends at Career Connectors. And I'm especially grateful for our friends at Career Connectors because without them, I would not be here with you right now. I'm grateful for you. You have chosen to spend this, let me say that differently, to invest this 30 minutes in you, in your life, in your career search, and in your future. And that is one of the best investments you can make. You know, your 401k plan can go up. Your 401k plan can go down. You will never learn any less. So something may resonate with you that you can take out and put into action as soon as we get off the line together today. There might be something in 2 or 3 weeks you're in your situation and you realize, wow, I remember when Christy said X. And then it becomes important and you can put that into immediate action. So what I want to do now that I see all those smiling faces is I want to get those smiles even bigger. If you've ever seen me before, you know I like action and I like activity. So go ahead and stand up wherever you are. Place your feet shoulder width apart. And just go ahead with a nice bounce in your knees. You don't need to do any high jumps or anything like that. Your toes can stay on the ground. Give yourself a little bit of bounce. Ooh, feel that energy moving through your body. Feel those cells moving. Those smiles are getting bigger. Go ahead and make hard hands, if you will. And down by your waistline, go ahead and do a little, whoo, down by your waistline. Move those arms, move those hands. We're getting moving. It's Get Moving Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's go ahead and bring those up to your voice box and your shoulders. We're gonna open up your voice and your heart this morning. I've been sharing with people over the last 120 days, when we make life simple, which it can be, we're either making our decisions from a place of love or a place of fear. So we're being very intentional about opening up our hearts and opening up our voices. Now, what I don't know is I don't know who's really showered. So the good thing is if we were in a room together, I would say the next move is only for people who have showered and put their deodorant on. But since I can't verify that, go ahead and take it up as high as you possibly can. If you have a low ceiling, give it a little pop. All right, back down to your heart and your voice box. Back down to your waistline. Give yourselves a round of applause. Woo! Now we're doing a lot of sitting right now in the world. So I would suggest every 90 minutes, you take 2.5 minutes out, get up and go ahead and do what we call a little bounce and shake. Now I started it off with gratitude. I would love to know down in the chat box, what are you grateful for today? What are you grateful for today? Go ahead and let us know down in the chat box. And the next thing we're gonna do, if you could grab a pen and a piece of paper. You've probably heard this once or twice over the last 120 days. We're gonna take your temperature. Okay, I'm gonna take your temperature to see where you are right here and now in the moment. All of the work I do is designed around creating a higher level of self-awareness, a higher level of consciousness, paying attention to who we are, where we are, what we're doing. And so this is a tool that I use. I have clients who literally use this at least once a day. And in a moment, I'm going to share some of the areas where I feel this would be most beneficial for you right now. So go ahead and create a large circle. And in that circle, you're going to make a cross in the middle of it. And I want you to just check in with yourself for a moment. Check in, take your temperature and think, what am I feeling right now? It could be feelings, emotions, it could be sensations. Like for me, I have two hot lights right here. So one of the things I'm feeling right now is I'm feeling hot. You're gonna put the 4 words that you're feeling right now in each of these different sections. 1 word in each section. Go ahead and do that now if you would. Now, of those 4 words, what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at the word that's really resonating with you most right now, the feeling that's resonating most with you, that's top of mind when you think, wow, yeah, right now I'm really, pick that word. And then what you're going to do under the circle is write 2 sentences. You're going to describe the word and what it is that you're feeling. So for me, gratitude. I'm feeling this overwhelming sense of gratitude right now because I get to spend my morning with you doing what I love, giving you tools that ideally will make your life better immediately following our time together. So go ahead and pick your word and describe it in a sentence or 2 right below the circle. And once you've written 1 or 2 sentences down there that describes what that feeling is and how it's showing up for you right now, underneath that, I want you to fill in this sentence. Write this sentence down. I created the experience of feeling, fill in your word right there, by, and then complete that sentence. So for example, gratitude for me would be, I created the experience of feeling grateful by, and then go ahead and describe how you created that feeling. And if you would, down in the chat box, let us know what feeling you're feeling most right now in the here and the now. What are you feeling most right now? Let us know down there in the chat room. And if you want to also, let us know how you created that. I created the experience of being grateful by choosing to be with you here today and giving you the knowledge I have. And I just have this overwhelming sense right now. So let us know. I created the experience of feeling tired by not exercising enough. Thanks so much for sharing. I appreciate anticipation for the day. Think about this, anxious. I created the experience of feeling excited by taking action. Now let's think about this for a moment, and how does this relate to where you are right now in the here and the now? A couple of different things. Take a look at each of these 4 words. Do each of the 4 words you put down that you're feeling, do they serve you well in leading the kind of day you're looking to lead? Do these 4 feelings serve you well? I will share with you, I've done about 30 workshops online in the last 120 days. This is one of the most powerful exercises people experience out of anything it is that I do. And here's why. Many people right now are feeling anxious, scared, worried, fearful. Now, if I'm looking for my next best great career opportunity, and I'm coming from a place of overwhelm, anxious, fearful, worried, how am I going to show up? How am I going to show up when I'm sharing my strengths, my talents, my skill set? How am I going to show up in an informational or a panel interview? If you think about this, this is how I came to know Jessica in 2010. Jessica and I were both contracted by the City of Phoenix Workforce Development. They had a lot of programs for frontline wage earners. What they didn't have in place is they didn't have something that would help mid to senior level executives who never thought they would be displaced in the workforce, finding themselves displaced, right? Now imagine 5 months ago, we were living in a completely different world. And things have changed. So think about this. If you and I are candidates, you're candidate A, I'm candidate B, and we on paper, or in cyberspace, depending on how people get our information, if we are on paper equal to one another, we meet all the requirements, we have similar skill sets, similar experience, great references, and you go in and you have a positive mindset, you're an opportunist, you're thinking, you know what? Boy, I didn't really think I'd find myself in my current situation. I'm gonna make this an opportunity though. I'm gonna be an opportunist, I'm gonna be a victor, I'm not going to be a victim. And so you walk in with that energy, that enthusiasm, that excitement that makes people go, wow, I want him or her in our workplace. And I walk in and I'm a victim, I'm negative, I'm PO'd at the world, I'm angry at my employer, I'm worried, I'm upset, I'm fearful, I'm anxious. What kind of energy am I going to bring in compared to your energy? Super powerful. Before you go into an interview, you can do this from your car, assuming you're going into a face-to-face interview. I know a lot of interviewing is happening virtually right now. 30 minutes before that interview starts, you're not rushing around the house doing other things. You're not taking a load of laundry out and making sure that the Smith's order is on its way. You're preparing for that moment, because being good enough right now is no longer good enough. You must be excellent. You get to become the best version of yourself. You get to become the best candidate, the best interview, and the best person for the job, the position, the opportunity. And if you're able to check in with yourself and see, wow, Are these 4 feelings going to serve me well in this interview or not? And then if not, you can make a shift. What would I rather be experiencing? What do I get to feel? What do I get to create right now so that I get to show up at my best? I'm not telling you to ignore your feelings. I'm telling you to use this as a temperature gauge, to get present, become aware of where you are so you get to show up and be your best. How many of you have heard me say, create? I created the experience. Do you know that when I asked you to write down the feelings that you're feeling in the here and now, you created that in that moment? Think about how quickly you created that and how quickly you could be creating the feelings that will serve you even better. Does this make sense to everybody? Can you see the value in using this tool? It's great before you go into a courageous conversation. It's great when you're sitting down with your spouse after you've been frustrated for a couple of days because you've been together 100 hours straight for 4 months now, right? So use this tool to create a higher level of self-awareness, to be able to connect with yourself and say, is this serving me now? What could be serving me even better here and now? Okay, if you had any ahas in the here and now exercise, if you would share those down in the chat room, that would be fantastic. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what is this idea around the leader's mindset. So I'm going to take a moment and set my screen up so I can be able to look and see everybody on with us today. How many of you are in some type of leadership role, capacity? How many of you are leaders? By show of hands, just show me really quick. All right. Oops, I see a thumbs up. All right, I'm going to say all my people on page 2 and 3. I'm calling you out right now. I don't see your smiles. You're multitasking. All right. Any of you not raise your hand? Because I will share with you, everyone that is on this Zoom today is a leader in one capacity or another. Even if you are leading yourself, you are a leader. The leader's mindset is first and foremost about personal leadership. You are leading your career search. It's up to you. There are resources, there are workshops, there are classes you can take on how to do this and how to do that. There are recruiters. At the end of the day, this is on you, 100%. So the leader's mindset, this is part of our mindset. When we think of mindset, we think of vision, values, passion, purpose, belief in self, self-respect, reinventing, reimagining, and becoming the next best version of ourselves individually as an individual and as a leader of self and then others. So the leader's mindset today, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at where's your mindset? And we're going to do it through the lens of values. How many of you right now are all up in your head? And what I mean by that is how many of you are having conversations with yourself? about why you got laid off, about how you don't matter, or you didn't have the skills, or you weren't good enough, or we make these stories up. We're looking at around 45 to 50 million people who have been laid off, depending on the day. A lot of very talented, very skilled, very experienced, hardworking, values-driven leaders who are finding themselves in this space right now. And this is not the place we want to be. I want to get you out of your mind and into action in a way where you can reimagine and reset to your next best career opportunity. Not to take something, but being purposeful in how you go about exploring, defining, and claiming what is important to you. For those of you that I can see, many of us are in that second half of our careers, right? And for those of you who may not have been laid off or furloughed before, I don't want you to become the master of the career search. And even for those of you who have been furloughed or laid off, I don't want you to master the career search. I want you to align with people like Career Connectors and the resources they bring to the table to help you get farther faster. People who have workshops that get you into action so that you get to be implementing and looking for your next best opportunity. This isn't about mastering the art of the career search, which is a lot of what I'm seeing out in the marketplace right now. Thinking about the foundation of who we are, the very foundation of every decision we make, every action or behavior we take, comes from our values. And if you think about your values really have been developed over time, from the time you're born till about your late teens. And they come from our parents, our friends, our teachers, our mentors, our coaches, our band directors, our friends. And so sometimes we might think about our values. Is it taking the pole position in everything that you do right now? Are values taking the pole position? Think about the state of the world right now, the state of the United States, the state of your local community. When you experience ease and flow, you're living in alignment with your values. When you're feeling resistance or angst, frustration or stress, there's a pull or a push on your values. You're butting up against something that is not in alignment with your values. Why is this important? Because almost every interaction that's happening right now is on values. Are you wearing a mask? Are you not wearing a mask? Are you staying 6 feet from someone? Are you not staying 6 feet from someone? I remember early on when we were all asked to close down. I spend my time now between Southern California and Las Vegas. So California was one of the first to really shut down right around March 13th. And I remember my husband and I took it very seriously. We live in a public school or a private school facility. It's the president's house. And we asked that no one was coming to come in the house. No one, except for the two of us. We only went out to get groceries or to exercise, and we very much stayed our distance. And our neighbor across the street had a birthday party with about 75 people there. We had a values bump. As you go to create that next opportunity for you. I'm sorry. That was Siri. Siri wants clarification. I'm sorry, Siri. As you go to look for the next company, organization, partner in your career, how do values play a part in that? Understanding that you and I could have the same top 10 core values, and how we define those values, why those values are important to us, and the context in which we live and behave in those values could all be completely different. So it's being crystal clear on what are my top 5, my top 10 personal core values, and understanding why they're important to you, how you define them, and how when you're living in alignment with those values, that you are showing up in the world. Additionally, the values are your needs and motivations. So the more aware of these values that you are, the more aware of how you're living in alignment or out of alignment with your values, help decide if your needs, your motivations are being met in the moment. And what's happening right now is many of us have gone back to our deficiency needs. Deficiency needs are, do I have enough? Do I have enough money right now? Can I make my mortgage payment? Can I buy groceries for my family? Do I feel safe? Do I feel secure? Do I feel comfortable? Do I have a roof over my head? Do I have enough? Number 2, am I loved enough? A lot of those relationships that we have when we're inside of an organization seem to somewhat disappear when we're on the outside of an organization. And so you might be having a deficiency right now in your relationships, not feeling the love from others. And then the third level of deficiency needs, hang on just a second. Thanks. The third level of deficiency need shows up when we ask ourselves, am I enough? And that's why our values are so important. Our values can help drive a pathway so we understand when different situations, different circumstances, some familiar, some we've never lived in our lifetime, show up. When we're clear on our values, we get to go back to our values and ask ourselves, where do I stand? How am I going to make this decision based on my values? Am I making the right decision based on my values? Keeping our values in a higher level of conscious awareness. Any questions so far down in the chat box?
I don't see anything, Christy.
Okay, great. Our values are the foundation for every decision we make, every belief or action that we take, no matter how small or how large they are. And when we put the values in the forefront and realize this, we're really choosing to live and lead from a space of what our values are, not what society or culture tells us it should be. So think for a moment about your values and think about your current situation and where you are in your job search. How do those two moving forward serve you best? How can you take those top core values and make sure that your next opportunity is in alignment with who you are? Because I'll tell you something else that's really valuable. If we live 0 to 2 of our personal values inside of an organization, we're disengaged or we're actively disengaged. We literally check ourselves at the door. When we get to live 3 to 5 of those values, we become more engaged. And if we can align with an organization whereby we get to live more than 5 of our values inside of that organization, we are actively engaged. We get to show up and give our best contribution, our best talent and skills. And we get to love what we do. That's how important our values are.
Hey, Christy.
Yes.
I know you're going to address this, but we have someone asking, how do you determine what your core values are?
Ah, very good. There used to be a time back in the day when I would do a sort of a pen and paper exercise where I would have people go through and circle their top 20 values and then narrow it down and then narrow it down. And about 5 years ago, I got certified in a tool called the Barrett Values Method. And what we can do is scientifically go in and take a look at what our values are. And that's an interesting thing to do because our values do change over time. If I had more time to share with you today, what I would share is you have primary motivators and you have secondary motivators. Our primary motivators are really the values that we've mastered certain levels in our lives, and we're living at a level where we're doing more collaborating, higher level relationships, mentoring and coaching and making a difference in the lives of others. And when we've done that, those are what we look at as growth needs. We have deficiency needs and growth needs. And when something happens, like a job loss, a divorce, some kind of event that literally takes us back from just moving in ease and flow and doing what we've done for many of us decades. And then boom, we lose our jobs, we're furloughed, we're trying to make sense. How come Sheila gets to stay behind? Why did Jessica get to keep her job? I'm Jessica's leader, why am I not there? And we go through all of these different situations and it takes us down into those deficiency needs. And those deficiency needs, again, are our survival needs, when we're really just holding on. And one thing that I've learned in the time I've done the work that I've done over the last 25 years, and for business and myself, I literally left during the Great Recession because I wanted to make a larger impact in the world. I see so much suffering in times like this. And I don't like seeing suffering. I don't want to see people just surviving. I want to see people thriving. And so one of the opportunities that I put together, and we have a very special price point that is Career Connectors driven for this event. Typically an event like this would be about $497 when I do a public event like this. And because Sheila and Jessica were so kind to bring me in, I've created a special opportunity for this coming Monday. And what I'd like to share with you all is you and your future, it starts in this moment. It starts in this moment. It really is a dedicated, deliberate, purposeful opportunity to move forward this way in your life. from this point on. So what we've done is we've created the V Factor. The V Factor is how values drive success in your career and in your life. I have heard time and time again over the last 4 months, people have had time to sit back and pause in their experience. Sit back and take a look at what is important. And more often than not, I hear people say, I realize I have no sense of work-life balance. And so part of what we get to take a look at is, what are those 5 or 10 personal values of yours that will have direct impact, that are needs of yours right now, motivators of yours right now, that will drive a better career search and a better career landing, and that will drive a better life for you moving forward. So this coming Monday on July 20th, from 12 to 2 p.m. Pacific, I will be hosting a webinar, again, the V Factor, how values drive success in your career and in your life. We've priced it at $147 per person. However, my friends at Career Connectors have connected us today. So if you choose to take a look at this opportunity, when you register, you put in the code word career, you will save an extra $100. So that brings it down to $47. Now, I will tell you, for the first few years I was in business, I did a lot of pro bono things like this where I gave it away for free. And what I realized very quickly is if people don't have minimal skin in the game, they're not going to show up at their best. So we've taken it down to a minimal investment to make this doable. And think about this, it's less than a few Starbucks or 2 lunches out, right? And in here, I'm sharing with you one of the 5 next biggest moves in your career search. And it starts with your values. Not only will you be receiving a personal values assessment as part of this, we will literally go through a workshop to help you define those values, to help you understand those values so that you have clarity and you can start having discussions with others about your values. If you're having any kind of angst in relationships, it's bumping up against a value. If you're frustrated with the person in Costco who is or who isn't wearing a mask, it's a bump in values. Any questions, any thoughts? What's coming up for everybody? And I'm gonna pop over here really quick and see.
Christy, I had a question come to me around after defining your values, and maybe you're going to get this, how do you figure out the company values that are a match for you?
Great question. Number one, I always make the assumption, thanks for asking the question, Jessica, that everybody's doing the research ahead of time. And one of the things I suggest is you put together an ideal top 10 list of the companies that you want to be associated with, right? And when you do that research, and as you're identifying that top 10 list, you're going to look up what's their vision, what's their mission, what are their values, what do they stand for? What's happened in the last 120 days? Find out who you know that is currently in the organization. Tap into their knowledge. Find out who you know that's no longer in the organization. Why aren't they in the organization? And just because they left doesn't mean their values weren't in alignment. They could have just had a better opportunity. Asking people who've been there firsthand is a great thing. There are other tools too that you can use, including Glassdoor and things like that. And I will tell you, that's a great question, Jessica, because I was doing a workshop 3 years ago with a very large logistics company. And they had brought in their top operations team from across the United States. And I was asked if the CEO of the organization could participate. And I said not if he could participate, if he could sit in the workshop with me for 3 days. And I said, no, you can't sit in the workshop with me. You can participate for 3 days. So if he agrees to participate and go through each and every exercise with his team members right there at the table, he's welcome to come into the event. He came into the event, and I will share with you, we went through an extended, this is sort of the entry-level personal values assessment. I have things that literally are handwritten assessments. Each of the leaders in the room had a handwritten assessment. The leader was sitting in the circle, male, about 55 years old, extremely emotional, because he realized the values of the people that worked with him were out of alignment with the organizational values. And he made a commitment that day to do things differently because he had seen the comments that former employees were posting on Glassdoor. So we have an opportunity to take a look at what are our values, how are we living them in the context of our beliefs and our behaviors, why are they important to us. We'll do some exercises around that, and everything that I do is geared toward you taking immediate action. So from those values, you will take immediate action in 2 or 3, depending on your choice, 2 or 3 different areas that will directly impact your career search, that will have you becoming a more discerning applicant, and that will really help you promote yourself to a higher level of expectation for where you go next. Because remember, there are a lot of talented people out there right now. Good is no longer good enough. Excellence is required. Think beyond what you know to be true. With organizational leaders understanding that people have done so well inside of their homes working. Many of the organizational leaders I'm working with, my corporate partners, are now deciding they're going to let team members work from home. And what this does is this opens up opportunities for you, because your organization may be based out of North Carolina. You are talented and you're in the Phoenix market. They want you, and they're going to let you work from home. So the world has changed. Business has changed. Career search has changed. We get to change too. If we do not change, we become irrelevant. If we do not continue to grow, to develop on this journey of life, leadership, our career path, we become yesterday's news. We get to reinvent, we get to reimagine, and right now we get to reset. And I'm suggesting that you reset with the foundation of values and build up from there. Because when you have clarity around your values, there will be the days, my friends, when you will stand alone in your values to be counted. And yet when you do that, when you are so crystal clear on who you are and what your values are, that you're willing to stand alone and be counted by yourself, you become an inspiration and a motivation, and you give permission to other people who are afraid, who are scared, that they can come over and they can stand in their values too. You get to be the representative of what's possible for others. So I hope to see many of you on Monday, the V Factor, How Values support your success in career and in life. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
I
Christy.
just want to say thank you to everyone and best of luck.
We got a ton of comments in here. Just people really appreciate you being here today and hearing words that they needed to hear without even realizing this is what they needed to hear. So thank you so much. Christy,
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Sheila.
Christy will be on our chat for a few more minutes. So if you have any more questions, feel free to drop them in here or send them over to her. She is available to answer your questions. And thank you for offering that great opportunity on Monday for people to dive in more. Appreciate it. All right. So we are going to move on to Jason, and Jason Wiseman is with us today. And so one of the things that we have done is we've heard a lot of you saying, I'm not really sure if I want to go back into my corporate or a corporate job, or if I want to figure out my own business, or how do I have multiple streams of revenue. So Jason has come on as one of our partners, and I love this opportunity that he is offering. And so he spoke about 6 weeks ago or so, and got a great response. So we've asked him to come back and speak again. He's going to talk about a business opportunity, like a side hustle. It's not an MLM or anything like that. But his industry is regulated, and so not everyone may fit, but many of you actually may fit into this opportunity and be something you're interested in. So I've asked him to come back and speak about it again for a few minutes. Jason spent 2 decades in the corporate world in the semiconductor business, and his business experience has ranged from owning his own consulting firm to purchasing a franchise that he and his wife ran. And in the past 12 years, he has spent managing his own agency. He's been recognized for his performance in the top 500, been featured on the cover of Business and Finance magazine, and is a multiple 6-figure earner. He co-authored a best-selling book called Winning Ways, and he has been married for 26 years, 2 children, and a senior marketing director with Wealth Wave. So will you please help me welcome Jason Wiseman to our call.
Thank you so much, Jessica. I appreciate that. And kudos to all the information that was shared today. It really fits in line actually with one of our company core values, which we're really big believers on personal self-development. And so that was awesome. I'm going to jump right in. Can you hear me okay? First of all, just give me a thumbs up, Jessica, if you can. Okay, good. So as Jessica said, I'm at a company by the name of Wealth Wave. We're the How Money Works company. And one of our core strategies is to help employees to go from employee to entrepreneur. And, you know, I made that transition a couple of times myself on my own with the franchise and a couple other consulting things that I did throughout my working career. And it's very, very challenging. If it's not a money issue, it's a leadership issue. If it's not a leadership issue, it's a money issue. It's just, there are some challenges, especially if we're trying to create things on our own. So we really have developed a platform to help people transition. And one of the ways we do that is we champion the cause of a part-time effort with in a highly regulated industry that is very unique. So with that, talk about financial literacy just for a minute, because that's our core mission is to stamp out financial illiteracy in the United States. It's the #1 economic crisis in the world. It affects 5 billion people. And in combination with that, we have an industry that's been stuck in time and tradition, meaning that the pathway to transition into a career or even enter the industry coming right out of college, the training program, the kind of the methodology of making that happen is quite antiquated. And the result of that is we have a massive shortage of financial advisors over the next decade. There are more CFPs, certified financial planners, over the age of 70 than there are under the age of 30. And then this article came right out of CNBC, and I found this. I know what the guy was trying to say, but I found it kind of funny that he says, we don't have a formal training program. We just hang out with me all day and we'll get there together. And of course, you guys have been around long enough that that's not going to get the job done. So you've got to have a system and a methodology to help people make that transition, which we do. Now, as far as the jobs are concerned, the new normal is 4 job changes by the time you're 32 years old. And the Gen Xers, which is my generation, averaged about 2 job changes in their first 10 years out of college. Now I'm 50. I've had a couple of more job changes than that. Maybe it's because I was unsettled with what I was doing or unhappy, but there were reasons. And when you survey people, the number one reason is that they were concerned about the lack of opportunity for advancement. And I remember being in the corporate, and I had good jobs, I had good managers. I mean, I had a good run there, but I do remember feeling stuck. You get to a certain position in a company, and there's not a ton of upward mobility. I think that's the reason people change jobs a lot. And then, of course, we don't have pensions today, so there's not a lot of loyalty back and forth that way, like maybe our grandparents had. So there's been some changes, and then unsatisfied with the leadership, unsatisfied with the work environment. They wanted something more challenging, and they didn't like the compensation or benefits. And then the last thing was, I was just unsatisfied with the rewards and recognition, which don't happen a lot in the corporate world as well, and that's understandable. So what we do is we offer somebody the ability to really get behind our crusade and go make a difference in people's lives. Think about this for a minute. When was the last time that a mentor in business or a manager asked you a question like, and the reason I bring this up is because this was something that was asked of me that got my wheels spinning about a career here. And now the question was this: where do you want to be in 5 years from now or 10 years from now? And before I could answer, the gentleman that asked me that question said, I'm not talking about a position or title. Where do you want to be in life? Where do you want to be income-wise? Where do you want to live? How much more time do you want with your kids and your spouse, or whatever it is that you want out of life 5 or 10 years from now? And of course, I had to think about that for a minute, because really nobody had asked me that before, not from a career perspective. And so I gave him my answer, and he says, then what we're going to do is we're going to build a business plan around that. And they really made it about what I was trying to accomplish business-wise. And then, of course, he also said to me, but we're going to do that by focusing on these things in this order. Number one, we always do what's in the best interest of the client. Whether we get paid or not, it doesn't matter. We protect the client. Second thing, we protect the reputation and the names of the companies that we represent to the client. And some of them you would know by name, like Pacific Life, Nationwide, American Funds, a lot of the big names in the industry. So that's number two. Third thing, we protect our agency and our peer group in our associate group. And so with that, we want to do the right thing so that we don't build a bad reputation amongst them. And then the fourth thing is what's best for us. And he said to me, doing that over and over again, client first, company reputation second, agency reputation third, and then putting yourself behind that. If you do things in that order, you'll have a business that will deliver, you'll hit your goals, and you'll be where you want to be. And you have something that you're very proud of that maybe, you want your kids to take over someday, or that's got a high value that you can sell. And so what we've done is we've solved a lot of those challenges getting started. And one other thing, I came here as a client. I unfortunately, for the first, and maybe fortunately, 20 years of my career, got caught in what we call the sucker cycle. I had good education, which helped me earn a good wage. And then consumerism taught me how to spend the money. And, life moves fast. And before I knew it, we had a couple of kids and a lot of obligations. And it just seemed like we were behind the 8 ball a couple of times a year, and really a couple of times a month when it came to our money. And I didn't think it should be that way, but I didn't know what to do about it because I never took a How Money Works class in school. Not in my associate's degree, my bachelor's degree, not K through 12. And so I sought out some help from a guy who, I called my CPA actually, and that CPA referred me to somebody that he referred people to, and he happened to be with this firm. And we got a money education. And we focused on some basic fundamentals that helped us get our ship righted when it came to our cash flow. And when we got done with our plan, I looked at the guy and said, what does it take to do what you do? Now, keep in mind, having had a franchise, having started my own business in the past, amongst all that corporate activity that I had, my wife looked at me really funny because it's a struggle oftentimes to start a business. But I saw the value, I saw the goodness, and what I didn't understand is that, they had a model that was very supportive of somebody starting part-time. The barrier to entry was low, but there were barriers to entry, and one of those is that it was a licensed profession. So that starts to eliminate people out of the competition structure in some cases. But then behind that was everything else that was basically turnkey for me just to come in and learn, and that's the personalized websites, email campaigns, podcasts, hands-on training, social media, the mentorship that I've gotten from people that have been around the industry for 30, 40 years. We use Salesforce as our engine. I didn't have to go build that and design it. We've got national press exposure with our book, How Money Works. The barrier to entry is low. Again, it's a licensed profession, and there was no glass ceilings involved. So it's been a great outcome for my family, and it could be for you as well. If you got the mission behind you to go out and change the world when it comes to money, we say our vision is a world where people get a money education in a way that changes the trajectory of their life, and then they go teach that to their children. And so it helps change the trajectory of their children's life as well. And so our mission is not just wide and immediate, but we also want to go deep into multiple generations where possible. So somebody that can get behind that likes the idea of being a money educator. One of the challenges with our industry is it's always been products first, education second. And what we've done is we've flipped that the other way around. We want to educate first so that people really have a good understanding of why we're doing some of the things that we're doing for them. And then we come in with the right solutions to help them get on their feet. So that's quickly who we are and what we do. This month of July, we're looking to bring on 5 new licensed agents, and all of that will happen between now and the end of the month. We've got all that figured out to help somebody get off to a good start. And so obviously there's a lot more information. So what we're doing is tomorrow at noon, we will host another Zoom meeting where we'll go into some more detail of our platform. We'll show you our technology. We'll show you the How Money Works platform as well, and get a better idea. And then if you have some interest there, we can schedule a follow-up moving forward from there. So you can capture this QR code. If you just take your phone, turn the camera on, and grab that. And what that's going to do is send me an email letting me know that you're interested, and then I'll reply back with the time, which is noon on Friday. You can see it here that we have in your email, and from there you can join us and we can have a conversation after that. So Jessica, that's what I wanted to share today. I see there's some questions in the chat. I haven't opened it though; they just keep popping up. Does somebody want to read them and I'll answer?
Yeah. One of them was the book that you have, which I have a copy. It's phenomenal. And how is that publicly available, or how does someone get that book?
Yeah, great question. So you can get it on Amazon. We sell it on Amazon for about $16, or everybody at Career Connectors that sends me an email, I will email you one for free. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And then somebody is familiar with Dave Ramsey and wanted to know, is this similar? Is it something different than Dave Ramsey?
So same but different. So the answer is yes, but it's a little bit different approach from licensed professionals that work in the industry and have sat with, over the last decade, I've not really kept count, but I've probably sat each year with 500 to 1,000 households and looked at their specific situations. And that's everybody from a 20-year-old married couple to a 75-year-old couple that's retired. So with that experience and knowledge, a lot of that information that we've gleaned from learning from those people and what their needs are in the book. And then a lot of it is the same in terms of, we have to manage cash flow, we have to manage debt properly, and most of all, we've got to save. Americans are way behind when it comes to saving, especially for retirement.
Great. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
And just to add on to that, we're a huge Dave Ramsey family, and that's how we got out of debt many years ago in 2010 when we got hit really hard in the recession. But I read this book recently, and it really captured me. So I think you can be a fan of both.
Good. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here, and thanks for offering that Zoom call on Friday. All right, I'm going to close it out with a couple things today. And so let me just grab this here. First of all, we are going to ask you to help us out a little bit and provide some feedback. Since we're not in person, we can't do evaluations. So Sheila is going to launch a poll, and there's going to be one question that comes up at a time. And when that question pops up, just answer it real quick. It'll be a yes or no, and then the poll will go away. We'll do that 4 times, and so you'll have 4 different questions. If you have additional questions or additional advice or comments, you can shoot us an email at contact@careerconnectors.org. And some of that feedback that I'm looking for is, if you have preferred companies that you're looking for, if you have some requests on either speakers or topics, that would be great. We would love to hear from you. Also, it just popped up. Some of you are answering it. Thank you. This one's on logistics and the webinar registration. All right. So moving on, I just want to thank our partners that we have, all of our corporate partners and partners around the area that make this program happen. We are a nonprofit organization, and so our funding happens through these various partners and then donations. And so if you're ever interested in helping us serve our community, you can donate out on our website at careerconnectors.org. We have also worked with bestcompaniesaz.com to pull together a website of resources specific to COVID and what we're going through right now. So if you want to go out, the URL is listed on your screen right now. If you want to go out to this website, one of the best things we have out there right now is 65 validated companies, and you'll see logos, names and logos there, but 65 companies that are hiring right now. We have talked to them and verified that their jobs. I know there's 120,000 jobs available in the Phoenix area right now. I know some of you are calling in from other areas, but Phoenix area has 120,000 jobs available right now, and many of those employers listed there are part of the number. Underneath the 65 that we have verified are an additional 140 or so companies that are hiring that are partnering with another organization we work with, Arizona at Work. So go out there, take a look at the companies, see if they're on your list that if you haven't put together yet, but that you're going to put together of 15 or 20 companies, and then you can dig into the value side and see which ones fit. But I encourage you to go out, reach out to those companies, find people like Christy had said that work there or have worked at the company in the past. All right, so moving on here, a couple interesting things for you guys to be able to utilize, some resources we have. Another free assessment we give out called the DISC assessment. It's typically $97. You can get it at no cost by going through the link at careerconnectors.org/DISC. This will tell you a little bit about your behavior style, ideal work environment, communication style, and we have that through a partnership with Top Talent Consulting. So feel free to log into that, take your DISC. It'll take you 15 minutes or so. And it's a report of about 24 pages digging into some of your behavioral traits. Also, I mentioned earlier today, the event recap blog is available for you. It usually goes up in about 2 days or so once we get it all written out, edited, and posted. And so that'll be available at that website. And then we have all of our different social media portals that are available. We post things on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. And so feel free to engage with us there. We are shooting out a lot of content right now. All right, so a new program we started is this virtual coaching. And so at our typical face-to-face events, we have a time, an hour at the end of the event where we have a whole bunch of resources available. And so where you can meet with a resume writer for a few minutes, you can meet with somebody to go over your LinkedIn profile for a few minutes. So we've modified that program and brought it into a virtual format. So you can get free 10-minute consultations on any of the things below. And if you need multiple of them, that's fine as well. Just go to our form at careerconnectors.org/coaching. And that will allow you to fill out your name and phone number. And then you can just check which areas you'd like some coaching on. And so we'll connect you with a professional coach. We have people doing LinkedIn. We have professional resume writers from the Resume Writers Council of Arizona. We have coaches that can talk to you about your career change, your career transition. We have some finance coaches available for you to talk 401k, maybe transferring your 401k, insurance, that kind of stuff. And then maybe you need a mock interview for if you have an upcoming interview and you just want someone to help you walk through an interview and do a test run. All of those are available, so go ahead and fill that out, and we would love to connect you with somebody. Diane Forner is working on that for us as part of our team, so you'll get an email from her to make that happen. All right, so right now through the end of August, we are every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and next week, we are going to have Miriam Spinner, a new speaker, come out and how to shine using LinkedIn. So she has become a LinkedIn expert over the last couple years, and she is going to show us how to make your profile and connections really work well for you. Right now, we have Hotfoot Recruiters as one of our hiring companies. And then on the 29th, Jeff Wollender is going to do Know Your Story, Tell Your Story, and Sell Your Story. It's really, really important that when you are engaging with somebody and having a conversation, that you have clarified and you know how to talk about yourself in a way that is helpful, hopeful, and that can help you get to the next step. This can be in an interview, this could just be in networking conversations, but he's gonna help you get that down. So we're excited to have him. Dexcom is one of our hiring companies that day. And then August 5th, Wade Thomas. Ready, Reset, Go, Finding the Right Career. Wade has a podcast as well. So you can go check him out if you'd like. He does a ton of stuff with the careers. He's a career coach. So he has a ton of great information for you. And we're still working on companies. So check your email on Monday mornings. We send out an email with the updated hiring companies, speakers for the week. So you will see who is all going to be on the event that day. All right, we have three ways we're getting content out right now. I have a career chat I'm doing a couple times a week that has just various topics, some career guidance, 3 to 5 minutes videos that you can watch. We're doing updates on unemployment there, and just some content for you. I'll do a quick review of Christy's talk today as well, and that'll be in that career chat. Then community updates are interviews with various experts in our community, whether it comes around career search or community resources. We did one with the Resume Writers Council of Arizona on resumes, so expert resume advice. James, I know you're on the line today. We did one with James on a branding topic. So those are all available. Those are more like 20, 30 minutes. And then our webinars will all be posted on here. So the one today will be posted there, usually by the end of the same day we get those. So those are an hour and a half or so. And you can click on, this is our homepage. So just go to careerconnectors.org and you can click on any of those. All right, thank you so much to our speakers and our volunteers. Christy mentioned this at the beginning, but it does take an army of people to make this program happen. And so we have around 125 volunteers that give of their time. A lot of virtual coaches are helping us out and able to serve our community. So round of applause or a virtual applause if you're on the line to thank all of our awesome volunteers. There are people like Michelle and Sherry that are on the line today that are just moderating and helping us out as you're asking questions. So thank you all for making that happen. All right, so lots of great resources for you. We just want to thank you for being here. I'm just looking at the chat real quick, seeing if there's anything now left. after you take the DISC assessment, it will be sent to your email, and so you will get a copy of it right away. Well, thank you all for being here. Know that me and my team are praying for you, that you do land into the career of your dreams. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.